I feel very dignified to invite Dr. Prabha Lama, Associate Professor and Head Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, Graphic Era, deemed to be an University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, to chair the session. So the presenters, you can start your presentation.
Uh, yes, a very good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Audible?
Yeah. Should I start my presentation?
Yes, ma'am, you can start
I'm
it now. You can
okay. Okay.
start.
Thank you so much. Uh, a very good evening to one and all present here. First of all, I would like to thanks for giving me this opportunity to present my paper. Without spending much time, I would like to share my screen first. Uh, just a minute. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am Dr. Shimpi Kumari Chaturvedi from Usha Martin University, Ranchi, Jharkhand. The title of my presentation is English for Specific Purposes, teaching to perceive prerequisites and conventions in work, education, and day-to-day life. So, the alignment between the learning of ESP at tertiary level and the actual English language used in the workplace has been identified as an important research topic. Since English has become an important means of accessing the world's intellectual resources and an essential communication tool in the workplace also. The teaching and learning of English language has been given special intentions in the present scenario. So in 2008, the government approved the National Foreign Language Project to improve the teaching and learning of foreign languages, especially English, at all educational level in the period between 2008 to 2020. So the present study uh, aims to identify novice English for a specific purpose, which is ESP, teachers' professional development needs with regard to academic practice, ESP students, curriculum development, and program implementation. So, ESP started to emerge as a field in the late 1960s following the Second World War, and a time when more and more people desired to learn English to conduct businesses in international technology and commerce. So the term specific in ESP, it basically refers to the goal of learning English. And the student approach English study through a field that is already uh, familiar uh, with everyone, and it is very relevant to them. So this means that they can immediately apply what they learn in the ESP classroom to their work and studies. So the ESP approach increases the relevance of what students are learning and allows them to use uh, what they know to learn even more English, because their interest in their field motivates them to interact with speakers and text for the teaching of relevant skills. So the ESP assesses needs and integrates motivation, subject matter, and content. So the ideas and teaching method from general English classes can be transferred to English for specific purpose classes. So the current state of English, ESP, begins by surveying ongoing debates on key topics such as need assessment and its goals, specifically uh, in instructional method and the role of subject knowledge in instructor expertise. So the following a survey of two strands of current theory and research, genre theory and corpus, which was enhanced genre studies, and the critical pedagogy and ethnographies. So examples of research and theory informed pedagogical strategy for literacy and spoken discourse are provided. So the teachers of English have no monopoly on specific purpose instruction, and an approach was employed for the teaching of many languages other than English, and often referred to consequently as language for specific purposes. So, however, because this paper focuses on the English language instructions, the narrower term English for a specific purpose will be used throughout. So, the goals of EAP, which is English for academic purpose, and the EOP, English for occupational purpose, are not always easily separable. Consider, for example, EALP, that is English for academic legal purposes for law students, EABP, English for academic business purposes for business students, English for academic medical purposes for students in the health science. So the specific purpose can generate seemingly endless string of acronyms. So moving towards the next slides, probing a goal-driven problem-solving strategies. So ESP has some distinct characteristics which make it difficult to categorize. Yet many people who are active in ESP would probably agree with this. So the practice of ESP teaching has long been regarded as requiring needs assessment and content-based uh, teaching strategies, and instructors who are knowledgeable in their subject areas. However, there has been and still is controversy surrounding how these ideas are identified and implemented at the teaching locations. Reassessing needs assessment, which needs and whose goals. So basically, this ESP assumes that problems are unique to specific learners in specific context, and this must be uh, carefully delineated and addressed with tailored to fit instructions. So ESP specialists are often need assessors first and foremost, then designers and implementers for specialized curricula in response to identified needs. So even the earliest days of ESP, practitioners have viewed assessment of specific needs as requiring research skills and creative approaches to novel situation, and need assessment itself has been seen in the as in need of a continual reassessment. Who teaches whom when instructional roles are rewritten? So the ESP assumes that the problems are unique, uh, and of course it deals with the combined need assessors, specialized syllabus designer, authentic materials, developers, and content knowledgeable instructor capable of handling a rotating door of content areas relevant to learners' communities. If there were a television reality shows called the ESP Apprentice, which with prizes in the form of ESP faculty appointments, it seems unlikely that a large number of ELT professionals would compete to appear on it. So it is, of course, concerned with limited content knowledge that often drives the urge to collaborate, the team teaching and linked classes referred to earlier. So what theory and research they have to offer? Though ESP has a reputation of being um, discriminating in its use of theory and has long valued practitioner research. This doesn't mean that ESP professionals have not been informed by research and theoretical developments beyond their own immediate instructional context. So the current ESP curriculum and materials designs owes much to genre theory, especially as enhanced by corpus linguistics, and ESP conceptualizations of both the learner's goals and its own as a field of owe much to recent contributors from critical pedagogy and ethnography. So, critical pedagogy and ethnography, pedagogy may also initially appear the polar opposite of ESP itself, considering the pragmatic efforts of ESP to help learners succeed in establishment, often exclusionary and hierarchical communities. So, the critically aware practitioner neither simply abandons language teaching nor continues trusting that ELT will open doors for closing any, but instead gives priority to helping learners appropriate English for their own purposes, to accept, resist, and even push back to globalize the global asserting ownership of English in forms useful in users' own communities. So the ESP classes itself can also be a site of ongoing critical qualitative exploration of more or less a transparent context. So through this ESP, although hard to pin down, uh, so ESP does have some prominent distinguishing features which on which many involved in ESP would likely agree. So need assessment, content based teaching methods, and content area informed instructors have long been considered essential to practice of specific purpose of teaching. So to conclude, I would like to conclude with the words that although I have separately surveyed genre theory and corpus enhanced genre studies and critical pedagogy and ethnographies, they need not be seen as mutually exclusive, especially with respect to pedagogical implications. So, genre theorists have been recently expounded on the critical consciousness raising capability of genre based pedagogies. So it is not uncommon for a contemporary genre theorists to speak of ethical responsibility. So critical pedagogists at the same time have pointed to the need of learners empowerment and agency, not just in literacy practices. The primary focus of much genre study, but in face-to-face communication as well. So computer trainer proved a potential motivator for language learning outcomes of this program. Interestingly, however, we were measured not by increased phonological and grammatical uh, control, although shop floor communication breakdowns decreased, but in increased union solidarity, participation in union meeting and contract negotiations, and use of union services. So the discursive strategies and communication skills development supported by such approaches as just discussed are clearly aimed at producing more than linguistically proficient workers. They serve a gateway to more confident, able, and likely participation in discourse communities, both narrow and wide. Thank you. Yeah, I have done with my presentation. Hello. Yes, I'm.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
This is Dr. Prabha Lama. So the next session begins from here. Good evening to all the scholarly learned fraternity here. So I think we should keep it very concise, precise, and crisp. So I would like to come up with your presentation. That should be, it should not be a prolonged one. Okay, if you could keep it little precise, since the work is done all by yourself. So if you could explain the crux of your work, it would be easier and we'll be saving the time as well, right? So all the best to all of you. And let's begin with Dr. Shimpi Kumari Chaturvedi if she's ready. Shimpi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm there.
Yes. Can you begin with your presentation?
Uh, I was actually I had started my presentation. I had just
Already.
started
You've
my
just concluded. Okay. You've just come. Since, the previous presentation was prolonged. So I had to log out at the
yeah.
urge of the technical expert.
Actually,
So then I rejoined. So can you just give your crux, the conclusion part?
Yes, sure, ma'am. My topic of the presentation was English for a specific purpose, which was teaching to perceive prerequisites and the conventions in work, education, and of course, day-to-day life. So, my study aims to identify the novice of English for specific purposes, teachers, professionals, development needs with regards to academic practice, ESP students, and of course, curriculum development and program implementation. So ESP started to emerge, as we all know, as a field in the late 1960, following the Second World War, the time when more and more people desired to learn English, to conduct businesses, in international technology and commerce. So ideas and teaching methods from general English classes can be transferred to English for specific purpose classes. So the current state of English, ESP, begins by serving ongoing debates on key topics such as need assessment and its goals. So teachers of English have no monopoly on specific purpose instructions. So an approach employed for the teaching of many languages other than English and often referred to consequently as language for specific purposes. So, however, my paper focuses on the English language instructions. The narrower term English for specific purposes will be used throughout. The goal of EAP, that is English for occupational purpose, and EAP English for academic purpose and EOP English for occupational purpose are not always easily separable. So consider, for example, EALP English for academic legal purposes for law student, EABP English for academic business purposes for business students, and English for academic medical purposes for students in the health science.
Dr. Shimpi, sorry to interrupt. Could you throw some light on legal purposes? What does it mean actually? You talked about academic legal purposes. What does it mean?
Ma'am, specifically the way English, some specific term which was being used through, terms or English terms which was being used by in ma'am, in short, I will say that nowadays when we teach BA, LLB or BBA, LLB courses, we include special paper of legal English. English is being taught in terms of communication.
Are you talking about legal maxims and legal terms, legal language? Because usually these days you'll find everybody using those terms. You're talking about pro bono, talking about de jure, de facto, modus operandi. They have become very common terms now, right? They have no more. They do not remain as legal language only because they have been accepted and accepted, and they are very pervasive these days. Everybody is using it. So I think you're talking about the same, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shimpi, quite interesting. I wish I could ask you more questions, but then we're running short of time.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
it was good enough. Good luck. I
Thank,
enjoyed.
thank you so much. Thank
Okay,
you.
Shimpi. Now moving on to the next one. Do we have a Mani Kandan, a PhD
Yeah.
research scholar?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, please continue, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Let me share my screen, ma'am.
Sure. That would be easier.
Is my screen share, ma'am?
Yes, yes, yes. It's very much visible. I can
It's
see it.
visible? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity to St. John College and Honorable Chairperson, ma'am. I'm Maniandan, PhD scholar, School of Education, Wells University, Vista, Chennai. Actually, here I present my research, experimental research paper. It's titled Innovation in Language, Teaching and Learning Process. I start with my introduction. Nowadays, languages teaching and learning is a very big challenge to the teachers and students. Learning a language is a very important one in education. Imagine, how can we survive a peaceful life without language? It's a quote of Wikivela. So without knowledge of language, anybody can't imagine also. Even a Skinner also in psychology said the language, through the language only the child think, imagine, and also etc. In that case, the need of this study is the National Achievement Survey of India report 2017 says the language knowledge of acquiring language is 57% only. They combine the regional language and also the English. As well as the 2021 result also shows the 53% of percentage is a language acquired. Even Tamil Nadu state government also take a survey. It's called State Level Achievement Survey Report, / report in 2017. It also shows them a result 55.1% students only acquire the knowledge. And even 2019 result also shows 44.5% of student language knowledge is occurred. In this case, I take this experimental research. So how can we improve the student language learning skill? PISA, it's known for Performance of International Student Assessment 2006 report, and it's quoted also to gain in educational performance only would appear in the presence of a successful educational strategies only. Even Wittgenstein and Dummett also suggest the quote, language is a big vehicle of thought. Without a proper fluency in their language, the student cannot acquire the 21st century. That means called 4 C's: critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration, and communication. So present scenario, global skill, this skill called as a global skill, 21st skills. Through the language only, the students can acquire the 21st century skills. So problem of the statement is the problem is a lack of reading and writing skills in language. It may be because of less attention or lack concentration power or lack negative mindset about themselves or a content, or boring traditional classroom method maybe. So objective of this study is to strengthening the usage of e-content in classroom learning process, to use the e-content to motivate the students' attention in classroom learning process, to motivate the interest of listening and reading skill through e-content, to improve the understanding capacity of the students, to measure the achievement of the students, and also extend the technique and usage of e-content to the remaining standards or classes. Hypothesis. Here I frame of 5 hypotheses. One is the medium. I belongs to Tamil Nadu, so I take 2 variables. One is Tamil medium and English medium, medium of instruction. So second hypothesis, there is no significant difference between 8th standard rural and urban students. And third one is, there is significant difference between 8th standard Tamil medium and English medium students by using innovative classroom. That means e-content classroom. This on post-test. And fourth one is, there is significance between 8th standard rural and urban students by using e-content, innovative classroom process. And fifth hypothesis, the level of pre-test and post-test. It's a comparative one. My research design is experimental one. It's a single group. I conduct pre-test and post-test design. Samples. I belongs to Tamil Nadu Erode district. So the samples I take in Erode in Tamil Nadu. Population is a 8th standard students, because I said before NAS report and SLAS report, all the reports are included and mentioned the 8th standard students language acquiring knowledge is low. So what I take, the population is 8th standard, sample size is 30. Research design is, I'm working as a government school teacher, it's convenient for me. So the school selection of a school, convenient sampling. Also the selection of student is purposive, because those who are not having a proper knowledge about the reading and writing in language. So purposely we select, so purposely sampling. I used the following, the researcher used the following tools as a phonics PPT, animation videos, programmed learning materials, which is printed in hard copy, and pre-test, post-test, that's achievement test. Through this, my study, through my studies, my hypotheses were proved. The first hypothesis, there is no significant difference between 8th standard Tamil medium and English medium students by using traditional chalk and talk method, traditional teaching and learning process. The pre-tests, after the calculation, the t-value is lesser than the table value. So my hypothesis accepted. So there is a no significant difference in medium of Tamil or English. My second hypothesis, there is no significant difference between 8th standard rural and urban students. Here also, the t-value is lesser than table value. So my hypothesis accepted. And by using the post-test, there is significant difference between 8th standard Tamil medium and English medium students by using innovative teaching. That means e-content. Innovative, I use e-content materials. So after the table t-value, the table value is higher than, that means t-value is lesser than table value. Here my hypothesis accepted. There is a significant. And fourth one, there is significant difference between 8th standard rural and urban students by using innovative as usual e-content. Here also my hypothesis accepted because the t-value is lesser than table value. And finally, my fifth hypothesis, the relation between pre-test and post-test. Excuse me. Yes. The relation between pre-test and post-test, the student total performance will be increased. Pre-test value average point is 13.7. Post-test, after e-content using classroom teaching, their performance achievement is higher, 26.9%. It's the overall percentage of a student. So in this study, I find 5 things. This is my hypothesis results. So first one is, I conclude it simply. First one is, there is no significance between Tamil medium students and English medium students. Second one is there is no significance in rural and urban students. These two hypotheses are a null hypothesis. And third one, there is significant difference between Tamil medium and English medium post-test result. And fourth one is there is a significant difference between rural and urban students. These two type of hypothesis or a research hypothesis. And fifth hypothesis, I compare pre-test and post-test. It's a positive manner. The value is a positive manner, 0.88. So my conclusion is the present study has an important bearing on education in our country, where students are taught through chalk and talk method. It indicates that students can be taught better through new and innovative methods like e-content. For your kind information, ma'am, can I play a video, ma'am?
Okay, fine. How long is it? Is it a short one? Since we're
just over 15 seconds.
okay, fine. Please go ahead.
Ma'am. Actually, this is my classroom, ma'am.
Action varla.
Thank you, ma'am. The video is taken in class, my experimental classroom, ma'am.
That's too good, Manish Kandanji. You have literally, since you told me that you're teaching in a government school, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, do they provide you all these kind of facilities and all?
Yeah, ma'am. Our Tamil Nadu state government also provide high-tech lab technology.
That's great. I thought it would have been a challenge for you teaching, children in such a case. But then I'm very happy. I'm very glad to know that the government is doing a lot for the upliftment of such children's.
Yes, ma'am.
The other question would be like language is an issue.
Yes,
Do you think that the Tamil speaking children they find English a little difficult?
Ma'am, sure, ma'am.
So, I could see that you had a special class for slow learners. I mean,
Yes,
this is something great that I literally appreciate you for, because, slow learners do require some special classes in order to map or match with the other lot of the class, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And how long have you been taking these special classes for slow learners?
This study only conducted in 30 days, ma'am. I already.
So you identify the slow learners.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you specially conduct their classes.
My school only. I identify the students and separate them. I give an extracurricular activity like a KG students.
And did you find some kind of difference after having taken their classes?
Yes, ma'am. I have a record also. Respective subject teachers also assess them pre-test, and they conduct a post-test, and they give a feedback. Better improvement. If you continue the class, they may become a fluency in their language.
Well done. Very good. I highly admire this. It's quite eye-opening for everyone, for all of us, that identifying students of little worth, of the students of average caliber, and trying to work for them to bring them to be equal to the other lot is a great initiative. So good luck. You have put up your presentation very well, and the small short video has been a kind of a teaching for all of us.
Thank you, ma'am. That video is taken in my classroom also, ma'am. So I have a record.
Very impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much. Now, can we have the next one, Dr. Dhanyanival, assistant professor? I might be
Yes.
mispronouncing the name.
Dhanyamol.
Yes, Dhanyanival. Yes.
Good evening to one and all.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Let me thank you for giving me a wonderful opportunity to present this conference. So I'm a bit feverish, so that's
Oh.
the thing.
No, you do one thing.
Let me
You
share.
can concise. Yeah, you can concise it. You give it a very precise.
Sure.
Speak it in a very precise form.
Sure.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Is it visible?
It is about to. Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yeah. So the title of my study is The Never-Ending Woes of Dalit Women, an analysis of Baby Campbell's autobiography, The Prisons We Broke. So before going into the title, let me give you an introduction about this Baby Campbell. So Baby Campbell, she is also known as Baby Adi Campbell, and she was basically an Indian activist, and she was a writer. And she was born in an untouchable caste known as Mahar, and this was basically the largest untouchable caste in Maharashtra. So her work, The Prisons We Broke, this is basically an autobiography. So she has uh, mentioned, or she has written her own pathetic condition as she was born as a Dalit woman. This is what basically she has given in this, or portrayed in this work. So without much delay, let me just move on to my presentation. So Baby Campbell's autobiographical work, The Prisons We Broke, it was originally written in Marathi as Jina Amucha and was later translated into English by Maya Pandit. It can be segregated into two sections on the basis of the arguments she presents. Firstly, she pursues a broad thematic portrayal of the otherness of Dalit women within their own community. Secondly, she extols the role played by fellow women in following in the footsteps of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar to dream of equality with upper caste Hindus in the social order. So the central theme apparent in this work is the intersectionality of the troubles of Dalit women. So Campbell asserts in subtle ways throughout the book that if Dalits were seen as an other community by upper caste Hindus, Dalit women were subject to the same treatment by men within their own community. So the next, my analysis part, that is the woes and sufferings of this Dalit woman as she portrayed in this book, The Prisons We Broke. The Mahar people, they are subjected to discrimination from birth till death. According to the book, all Mahar girls are neglected at school by girls from a high caste due to their fear of contamination. Even if upper caste women went by, they would cover their noses and flee as if these Dalit girls were rotting corpses rather than people. One of the girls from a higher caste claimed that when she got home from school, her mother wouldn't let her in since she had learned that Maha women also sat in that class. Dalit women are subjugated on three levels in this work: gender, caste, and patriarchy, as depicted in Campbell's terrible portrait. Younger women, particularly newlyweds, had the worst of luck. Girls are frequently wed between the ages of 8 and 9, and marriage is a tragedy for them. The married daughter-in-law's task was to demonstrate their culinary skills by preparing bakris. Bakris means it's a type of roti, or we can call it as a chapati. So she was compelled to undertake all the household work without being given the opportunity to object. If a girl couldn't do the chores, she was abused by her in-laws, particularly if she couldn't make bakris, at which her mother-in-law would yell, I quote, "Look at the bakris this slut has made. She can't even correctly prepare a few bakris. Oh well, what can one expect from a dancer's daughter?" Then, when a ritual was to be performed, the woman's work was always doubled. First, they were required to use cow dung to plaster their home and wash their clothes and dishes. Second, their living at their husband's home was pathetic. Campbell skillfully depicts how a daughter-in-law is never comfortable in the company of other women in her society, as she is always the target of taunts and put downs, and is frequently physically and psychologically harassed by her in-laws. Their mother-in-laws enjoy treating them as cruelly as their in-laws had treated them, which shows a great deal about their horrible guilt at having to inflict unnecessary suffering on the immature younger ladies and would blame their mother if they failed to finish a task. The book illustrates this with the following lines. What is your eye? Please tell me. Is she even a decent married woman? Or does she just know how to chase after the donkeys who manufacture boats? Is there anything she didn't teach you? My own Sasu was a spitfire, so I pamper you. Burning coal, holding burning coal is one's palm was easier than living with her. Then the Mahar woman's situation was dreadful and depressing as depicted by Campbell. They had to perform all the household work as well as go out and sell the wood to make the ends meet. They gathered all of the leftovers from various locations as a present to their children. The majority of the time, women were forced to go out without food. Dalit males seldom cared to provide the new moms healthy and clean meals. Only java gruel was available to women, which they were forced to eat. The midwives did not have any professional competence when they delivered their babies. They were left to the mercy of God whenever they needed help. Campbell depicts the agonizing and pitiful state of new mothers as follows. Many new moms were forced to go hungry. They would lay down, yearning for a few bites, while hunger gnawed at their hearts. This was mostly a woman's destiny. Everything contributed to the new mother's condition deteriorating, including labor pains, mishandling by the midwife, wounds inflicted by onlookers' nails, constant hunger, infected wounds with pus oozing out, hot water baths, hot coats, profuse sweating, everything contributed to her developing a burning fever. According to Campbell, Mahar women's lives were confined to and bound by all household duties, and they were never provided with self hygiene or self care. Besides, they were seen as little more than child procreating machines. A Mahar lady would keep giving birth until she was menopause. Patriarchy, caste awareness, gender predisposition, and domestic violence afflicted them the most. Campbell describes the pitiful condition of Mahar women who are expected to act like slaves in front of their higher caste Brahmins and are even taught by their own men how to be at the beck and call of the upper caste Hindus and treat them as masters. They were indoctrinated with a feeling of danger in respect to these higher caste members of the society. They were remunerated with obscenities and insults for their difficulties and hard work for their loads. Generation after generation, the Mahar dutifully served their masters. The Mahas, on the other hand, were abused by the higher caste society if they did not fall at the feet of their masters or if they did not offer their masters the right of way when the masters came across their path. If they spotted a man from a high caste coming down the path, they had to cover themselves completely and say, the lowly Mahar ladies fall at your feet, Lord. This was like a mantra that they had to repeat over and over again, even to a little kid from a higher caste. According to the book, Dalit women were always viewed as sexual objects and were made available to males of higher caste whenever they had sexual urge. Males of the Dalit group were required to surrender their wives to members of higher caste in order to fulfill their sexual needs. Campbell has also revealed the hypocritical mental structure of Indian society's higher caste. Since Dalits have been marginalized, victimized, and enslaved, it has been assumed that they are filthy and polluted. They are regarded as untouchables, yet when it comes to the advantage of the higher caste, such thinking is avoided. The higher caste Hindus are reliant on the Dalits in all of their manifestations. As an example on how Campbell brilliantly exposes higher caste people's false standard is when Mahar women work in the fields, their perspiration gets on the maize. Your clean, delicious meals are made with the same maize, and you eat them with such obvious pleasure. Your palaces are constructed on dirt drenched with Mahar sweat and blood. Is it nevertheless corrosive to your skin? You swallow their blood and sleep well in their mistress' bed. Isn't it then polluting you? Then, members of the Dalit community were inspired by the higher caste enjoyment of enslaving others and wished to emulate their cruel attitude, but they had no one to demonstrate their superiority.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Somebody is raising hand. Yes, Shimpi and Dr. Shimpi Kumari and Zeba, you people have raised your hand. Is there something you want to say?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Actually, I just wanted to share my problem that I am not able to get enter in my link, which is scheduled on in the session 9. That's why I'm just continuing this link to share my paper.
Okay. So you want to put up your presentation in this session, right?
Yes, I want to put up my yes, sir, in this session.
Okay. After I'll take your name later on. Okay, towards the end, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Please
much.
continue.
Shall I continue, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Members of Dalit community were inspired by the higher caste enjoyment of enslaving others and wished to emulate their cruel attitude, but they had no one to demonstrate their superiority. As a result, they started to enslave the weaker sex via their daughter-in-law because she was not a human person for her in-laws but simply another piece of wood. They would treat the daughter-in-laws like slaves. The following is an example of Campbell's remark on these women's plight. Slavery shackles had enslaved us in the other world. However, we were also human beings. We too want to rule and wield power. But who would allow us to do so? As a result, we formed our own plans to locate slaves for our own daughter-in-law. At the very least, we could enslave them if nothing else. So to conclude, Campbell's autobiography is a kind of an individual expose which consciously or unconsciously portrays her life. It depicts the inner journey and inner struggle that she underwent. A deeper study of her text unloads the inner recesses of the feminine psyche. She used her writing as a metaphor for her survival, and the autobiography served as a tool to weed out her dejections and afflictions. Her writings tried to defy social standards and executions and helped to unlock the gates of liberty for other women. Thank you.
Good enough, Dr. Tanya. It was good enough. I have few questions. Have you read any other Dalit writer's work? Have you read Mulkraj Anand's Untouchables?
Mulkraj Anand, yes, ma'am.
Untouchables. Have
Yes.
you read Bama's work? Any of Bama's work?
Bama's Karup,
Yes.
I didn't read, but somewhat I know the story.
Achha.
Yes.
Have you read Mahashweta Devi's Draupadi?
Draupadi, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So somewhere or the other, the character, the plight, the condition matches, right?
Exactly.
Somewhere or the other. So
Exactly.
what is the crux of your presentation? What is the crux of your research? What have you come up to? What have you analyzed?
I just wanted to say that, see, Dalit women, I mean, see, they are still under oppression. Not even Dalit women, even the Dalit community is still even under oppression, because I'm basically from Kerala. So recently also there was an example, one Mr. Apu, he belonged to this Dalit community. So because of his hunger, he has stolen some food. With this reason, he was beaten to death. So though we people are educated, though we got, though we are, celebrating this 75th year of independence, see, these Dalit people, they are still under oppression. So
what do you think? What needs to be done, Dr. Dhania? What do you think? What needs to be done? What is the need of the hour so that such practices are not?
We have to bring them up. We need to educate them. We need to bring them up. We have to give them opportunities, and this is what we can do.
Dr. Tanya, what I think
Yeah.
awareness and sensitization.
Yeah.
You need to be more sensitive towards the people coming from such classes, right? So
Yes.
sensitization is more important. That is the need of the hour.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Despite not being well, you put up your presentation so well. Good luck.
Thank you.
Wishes.
Thank you.
So can we have Professor Rathan and Professor TMN Deepak now?
Hi, ma'am. I'm Professor Ratna. I
Good
present
evening.
that we don't have electricity in this place.
Okay. So you'll be.
But anyway, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we do not have Professor TMN Deepak. So you'll be the one putting up presentation, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
please go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Oh.
sharing a screen. Ma'am, can you see the presentation here, ma'am?
No, I'm
Hello?
not able to see your. I think I got. Yeah, I think it is in a process to begin, but no, I cannot see it yet. The screen has not been shared yet. Yeah, yeah. It's okay now. Fine, I can see it.
Yeah, okay.
It's visible. It's visible.
Yeah. So my presentation is on signs or the language of a hearing impaired to relate each other. So here my presentation is on hearing impaired people. I have intervened nearly 845 people with them, and it is not the 845 people are hearing impaired, it is disabled people, and among them I have intervened few people among disabled people, that is hearing impaired. So let me start my presentation with the definition. So the definition of a hearing impaired is often used to describe people with any degree of hearing loss, from mild to profound, including those who are deaf and those who are hard of hearing. So according to PWD Act 2016 of India, 21 disabilities are listed out. So among them, number 4 is the hearing impairment, and number 15 is speech and language disability, and 19th is multiple disabilities, including deaf blindness. So this is Act 2016. Section 2 and subsection F says that communication includes means and formats of communication.
Professor,
That is,
yes, Professor Ratna, your voice is breaking. There's some kind of network
yes.
glitches, I think. Yes.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, yes, please. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it says that communication is nothing but language, display of text, braille, tactile communication, signs, large print, accessible multimedia, written audio, video, visual displays, and sign language, plain language, human reader, augmentation and alternative modes, and accessible information and communication technology. So some few statistics about the disabled people and the hearing impaired people. So according to the World Federation of Deaf, there are more than 70 million deaf people worldwide. More than 80% of them live in developing countries. Still, Russia tops the list of countries with the highest rate of hearing loss. As per WHO estimates in India, there was approximately 63 million people, that is 6.3%, who are suffering from significant auditory impairment. And this is the hearing aid individuals. And this is the sign language in India, which we used. Totally around nearly 49 sign languages are there worldwide. And this is my research. My research is on quantitative research, and my type of sampling is convenient sampling, and research design is exploratory, and my tool is interview schedule. Data collection is during Swayamvaram. I have taken the data collection. Swayamvaram is nothing but it is a method of a marriage in which women choose a man or man choose a woman as their spouse from a group of suitors in a mass place. So this is my research topic: delay in taking decisions on marriage by the persons with disabilities. So all over, I have got to know that the non-disabled people, we are getting married in the age of 18 to 21 or 25, not more than that. But for disabled people, after 30 plus, they started taking decisions to whether to go for a marriage or not. So there comes my question: why don't we take a research? So what is the reason for delaying in their marriage, and what is the delay in taking decisions? So in that, I've taken 845 persons with disabilities as a respondents at 7 districts of Tamil Nadu, where an NGO called Differently Abled Federation and December 3 Movement have taken initiative to organize the Swayamvarams. all these 7 districts, that is Chennai, Viluppuram, Kadalur, Virudhunagar, Madurai, Erode, and Ramnad. So among this 845, 14%, that is 120 respondents are hearing impaired. That is, whether these people are literate or illiterate, whether they are receiving this information, communications are reached, everything questions. So this is my impact. I have analyzed, got this information that is 68% of them are female and 32% are men, and 45% are literate and 6% of them have completed their higher education. And 85% of them have the responded that reasons for delaying in taking decisions like schooling. It is not only marriage, it is on schooling, employment, and other things like marriage. The family members are not recognizing these disabled people as a human. Therefore, their decisions are getting delayed. All their lifespan getting delayed. Life decisions are getting delayed. And among this hearing impaired, that is among this 120 respondents are hearing impaired, prefer to identify hearing impaired as their life partner. They don't want to identify their spouse to be a non-hearing impaired persons, the other disability or non-disabled people. They don't want it because of the fear in handling things in the life cycle. And 100% of them are communicating through sign language only. So using the sign language interpreters, we are able to understand what they are requesting or what we wanted to communicate to them. It is through the sign language interpreters only we have communicated. And these are the highlights wanted to communicate in this. Ludwig van Beethoven. We cannot cross over this person because we are able to see all the laptops with Beethoven musics. So he is also a disabled person that we have to understand. And she's Halle Berry is the first Black woman to win an Oscar for Best Actress. Lost nearly 80% of her hearing in her left, resulting from a blow to her head during the domestic violence incident in a previous abusive relationship. And she is the Shirley Pinto, and she is the first ever hearing impaired MP in Israel Parliament. So in India, I have a lot of questions. Though I have finished a lot of information with my research, I have a lot of questions with India situation. Education status is low among hearing impaired. It is not only hearing impaired, it is all over disabled people. Employment for hearing impaired are at unorganized sector. It is not even in the government sector. Government sector, if you need to go into it, we have to identify their jobs, what jobs they can do it. So we have to identify the jobs that we have to assess what way they can do it. So likewise, the government schemes reaching through what? So all the government scheme, when they go into the website and everything, they'll get into it, they'll understand. If illiterates, how they will understand? Only through sign language, they'll be able to understand what government says. So through sign language, very minimal number of televisions and social medias are using sign language. So how the government schemes and GOs will pass on? Through hearing impaired. So employment, non-voice, jobs, has any identified jobs for hearing impaired been assessed by the government? That's what I said now. And career guidance for higher education, whether, see, as a non-disabled persons, we will get to many informations from all the people. So what will I do after 12th standard? What can I take the other courses? Will this course help me? What is the scope? Everything we can ask. But for sign language people, hearing impaired people, how they will get this all informations? For professional course for hearing impaired, whether they are into it, whether they are employed or else, or whether they are enrolled, very big question. And training to attend interview skills. I'm doing a sign language for few of my friends who are hearing impaired. And when I was doing the sign language, they are asking, see, we have learned only one language, that is English. We do not know our mother tongue, Tamil language, not even Tamil. So we understand only in English. If I wanted to talk to any Tamil people, I'm not able to understand, and I'm not able to communicate. It's a big question. And when they go for any interview, they have to sign in language. How will they understand? How will they see the interview techniques, interview strategies? How they will ask questions? Only with the mouth actions, how will they speak? So these are all questions for hearing impaired. These are all the lacks we are supposed to fill in. And English, we have a lot of questions with 3 language system, English, Tamil and Hindi. And here we would like to insist it is English, Tamil and sign language. Because they are learning one English or Tamil. They have to know the sign language through any 2 language, any one from English or Tamil. So in what way we are communicating to them? Not even knowing the language, alphabet A. We are not knowing sign language. They are all next to us. If I'm going anywhere in the country or anywhere in the outside of country, I have to speak one language, that is English. Their language I have to speak. Else, for a time period, I'll learn the language and I'll speak their language. But in case of a sign language people, that is hearing impaired, in what language they will communicate and in what language are we ready to receive their language communication? Can we see any celebrities, any politics, any politicians, any sports people, hearing impaired people? Have we identified anyone? So here my suggestions are here. Inclusive education systems should be there. That is including hearing impaired. It is not only hearing impaired, it is all disabled people together in all education system. For namesake, it is not enrolling 1 or 2 disabled people in the education system. Is not saying that 3% or 5% reservation has been done. No. Inclusiveness at least 20%, at least 30%. So all kind of, my next suggestion is all kind of employment opportunity, thinking of hearing impaired, whether they will fit on this job. Accordingly, we have to give the jobs. It is not that saying it cannot be fit into. People cannot be fit into anything. No. We have to identify according to their ability. One person says that this editing, cinema editing work will be done only by the disabled people because they can sit for a long time and they can do it. Even for hearing impaired, it is very easy for them to work with the editing worker. Other than the language, communication, no. Better in these things, they can fit in. So we have to identify in what way they are fit. They'll be able to do it. My next suggestion is government policies or GOs passed. It should be with the sign language interpreters to pass on the messages to the hearing impaired. Professor Deepak, my co-author of this research, has been insisting government officials of differently able department and even CM also, that is, please have sign language interpreters with you. That's how your information will pass on to all hearing impaired people. That's what the suggestions we are trying to give it to them. And here in Pudhiya Thalaimurai TV and News 18 channel and these few channels, we were able to insist them to initiate sign language. And my last suggestion, sign language in media, television, social media and all other meetings, in offline meetings also, whenever you have a disabled person, in the sense hearing impaired person, please do have a sign language interpreter. So including all this, I'll finish off my presentation with this quote. The only disability in life is the bad attitude, said by Scott Hamilton. The the answer for this is inclusiveness in all the sectors. Thank you. This is my presentation. I finished. I wind up. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, Professor Ratna, thank you for giving such an insight into an unexplored area. You know, this is the area where I'd never came across to. I haven't confronted. So you
Yes.
threw light on so many aspects, uh, especially mentioning the deformity. It is a kind of a deformity. You know, people born with deformity have a crucial life of their own. So what you
Yes.
suggested is that bringing them on the streamline, right? On the
Yes, ma'am.
common streamline, so that the life for them becomes much easier. Right now,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
is very challenging for them. Talking about the education, because they are not provided the special kind of education that they literally require. The
Yes, ma'am.
occupation, acceptance, right? Acceptance is also lacking, as you said, that their
Yes,
own family members are not regarding them or accepting them as normal human beings. So they are
yes,
they are treated as subordinates some way or the
yeah,
other. So
yeah.
I mean, this is something good. I think you should bring it, give it the shape of a this thing, research paper.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Anna,
I'm doing it.
yes, I would suggest you to go for it. Well,
Yes,
very
ma'am.
well put up
Sure,
presentation,
ma'am. Sure.
and I really liked it. Lots of compliments.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So, can we have the last candidate who had been waiting for long? Zeba Mehtab, is that you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Please go ahead so that we can wind up with the last presentation today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity, and you just give me this, and I am very thankful to you. Good evening, everyone. My topic is interpreting emotional ambivalence as a narrative technique in the selected novels of Tehmima Anam, a Bangladeshi writer. And the theme I taken for this paper is ambivalence. We all know that ambivalence is oscillation between good and bad. This ambivalence feeling is something very relatable to the feelings who forced to embrace their faith with silence. They carry the agony of separation, and noticeable in all the contemporary writers we noticed. Every author who sketches the character has the power to portray a different kind of a personality who is just living their life in a very unique and a very heroic way. Some When we all just talking about the ambivalence, we never get completed without mentioning the Hamlet, the character of William Shakespeare. A very famous quote is there: Lord, we know that we are, but know not what we may be. It is very good to deliver my tool, which I take as a theme in this paper, which is oscillation between good and bad, what we do and what we may not do. And and we all know that being a female, we face lots of things like this. And here I take the narrative technique in the novels of Tehmima Anam, which is a trilogy. Our three Haq generations are facing the liberation war crisis in the Bangladesh. We have a grandmother named Rehana Haq, and he is the main protagonist of the first novel, A Golden Age. Her character is a mother of two children, Maya and Sakib, and they all are just the the situation the Huck family is taken upon ourselves is that they are refuge to our all the oscillations, all the separations, all the operations by the war, by the civil areas. Their children are living not that much orthodox, but her brother, who is very orthodox, in the Muslim community. He is like, a woman can't earn, a woman can't be a bread earner, a woman can't be in a heroic situation. They must be in the room, or they must just take care of their children and all. But Maya and her brother, they both are just give just seated in the tug with each other, that they both are trying to relate with their feelings, but their liberation, the liberation, but their childhood trauma is not giving them the flexibility to accept each other's thoughts. And in the third novel, The Bones of Grace, we have the granddaughter of Rihanna Haq, who is not that much the part of the Haq family, but she is adopted, the daughter Zubeda, who is adopted by the Maya. And she lives her life in the foreign country, and forced to be back in the Bangladesh to get married with the man her family choose. And she came and just get trapped into the orthodoxy of the Bangladeshi and the Muslim culture. Muslim culture is not orthodox. Islam is not kind of thing we have no opportunity, no freedom of speech. But the writers, the other content are showing that Islam is very much tough to follow, and the woman is not able to convey their real feelings to their mother or their father or their husband. But Tahmima Anam is also uh, oscillated between the two ideologies. First of all, she is a Bangladeshi born, but she adapted the culture of America. Or she is just like, ki, I am, the Bangladesh is never get out of me. Though the war is happening, though the liberation war is happening, though the everything is just crushing around, but I cannot get over of them, any one of them. And the trilogy reflects every trauma of a woman, how they are survive the war, and the civil war also they are facing, between the generational gap, and the different thought provoking process, and the different ideologies. And and I just take the ambivalence, which is very much relatable for females, to the with the heroic uh, contemplation of Haq family. And we all know that Muslim culture is not that much, and we have other writers also like Kamila Shamsi, Taslima Nasreen, Avjeet Roy, Salman Khan, Suraya Khan, Monica Ali, and we have Tahmina Durrani also. Her novel Blasphemy reflects the lights on the Sufism, and we have This House of Clay and Water by Faka Mansab, which is a very much a window to the Sufi culture of Pakistan, which is followed by the Sama and the Kalandars. They have their transgenders, and they are just like, but first of all, they are just uh, treating them like a holy priest, and secondly, on the other hand, they are just sexually exploit them. And the misfit characters are also the tool of to embrace the ambivalence, to embrace the ambiguity they are carrying along with them. So without taking you
Uh,
guys have any
Zeba,
question,
I
then
have a
ask.
question.
Yes,
You have
ma'am.
read all the writers. Yes, you have read all the writers belonging to your own community. Have you read any other writers beyond your
Yes,
community?
ma'am.
Other
Yes,
writers
ma'am. Of
whom you really
course, of course.
admire? Can you mention some names? Can you
Yes,
mention some?
ma'am.
Can you mention some names?
I
Because you've been taking the
yes,
names of the others.
Mahashweta Devi.
You've read Mahashweta Devi. You've read.
Mahashweta Devi, and
Okay.
Draupadi, and I have lots of things, but the I told you that I am from that community, that I am.
So that is why, yeah, you have a good and sound knowledge of your community, and you want that people.
I'm representing.
You, what I believe is that you want that people are misjudging your community. They do not know the factual thing, and that is why you've been framed in a different way, right? And
Exactly.
that is what
Ma'am,
you want to clarify.
exactly. But ma'am,
Okay,
the
you
topic I
talked about,
taken,
yes.
the topic I taken is from the Tahmima Anam, and she is a Muslim. But I told you that she's oscillated between the culture
Zeba,
and that.
talking about Zeba, talking about ambivalence, I think it does not,
And
you know,
yes,
go ahead, go ahead. You complete your complete your sentence first. I think there's some kind of network glitches here.
sure, you can can you please complete your
Yeah,
sentence?
you're saying something about the characters that mainly you're focused on the characters of your novels, right?
Yes, ma'am. Actually,
And
they are just
you have yes. Go ahead, go ahead.
uh, they are from they are from the Muslim community, and just to embrace their community, the other writers who are just embracing what is about. And but ambivalence is only get uh, referenced by the Hamlet and the characters who are actually facing the problems of unacceptance in their society, like they are feeling ambivalence and they are feeling alienation, they are resisting their existing societies, and
I think
the woman
some way or the other, we all live in ambivalence, to be or not to be,
to
right?
be or not to be is the only thing we are living for.
We are always dubious. So that's true. And if you talk about good or bad, so good or bad have a lot of meanings.
A lot of
Could be
meanings are
it
there
could
for.
be vice and virtue,
Exactly.
right? So
I can't explain good and bad in one definition.
exactly, it has multiple interpretations. We can
Yes.
keep on going and talking about it. So good enough, good. You have done your task perfectly, meticulously, and I
Thank you so
congratulate
much.
for putting up such a wonderful presentation. And I'm
Thank you so
sure
much.
here we end up here. I think we must conclude now. Is there anybody who's left, whose presentation is still left? Do we have anybody here? No. I think we are done with the presentation. So congratulations to all of you. Lots of
Thank
compliments
you so
for
much, ma'am.
doing your work so diligently, meticulously, putting up such a wonderful presentation. And I would suggest many of you to give a shape to your presentation and publish it in the form of a research paper, because many of the
Thank you.
works are quite up to the mark. So once again, good night. God bless you all. Bye bye.